it was a cool process, but it wasn't the process of this record. And I think we learned a lot about writing on this one, especially now. I had to buy like a really good mic for this, and I had to learn how to make it sound decent at least. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Is this backdrop too ghetto?
No, I love the spray paint.
Oh, all right, spray paint. Spray paint it is. Oh god. Oh god.
Where are you at? Aren't you guys from Melbourne? Or you're from Melbourne, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in Seattle right now.
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, I think it's like 1 a.m. where he's at. So I was just curious to make sure that I wasn't just like interrupting your evening.
No. We're on tour right now, so I'm just in front of the venue in our living quarters.
Ah, rad. I love it.
Actually, yeah, that makes more sense. That's weird. Is that too bad?
No,
do I
that's
need
great.
to do anything?
No, you look
Okay,
good.
cool.
Dig it.
I haven't showered.
It's all good. Thanks, Jacob, for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
No, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm Adam, and this podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record and how you guys got to where you are now.
Sick. Sounds good.
Sweet. So, was that correct? You're born and raised in Melbourne?
Yep. Oh, you say Melbourne? Good. You don't say it like all Americans. Oh.
I don't. See, I've been taught this. I had a coworker years ago, and he's the one that told me how to say it. And like,
really?
Every time I meet somebody or interview somebody from Melbourne, they always comment on that.
That was a good one. No, I'm impressed.
Yeah. That's funny that you said that too, because I'm trying to think recently, who did I interview? That was North Lane. They said the same thing, like, oh my god, you said it right. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely good. Big points.
Thank you. Anyway, well, tell me about growing up there.
Damn. It was pretty sick. I mean, we all live really close together. We're all like suburb kids, so we're about half an hour away from the city. So I live really close to the train, so it was really easy to go back and forth. But no, it's been sick. Best place to live, I think, so far. Like going everywhere else, it's definitely really good. And yeah, it's been good, man. To be honest.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about.
No, I was just curious. Cool.
I've been out for so long now. I don't even know what Melbourne looks like. I don't even know what the inside of this van looks like.
You guys have been on the road, just touring for quite a bit. Okay. When
this is our 6th week, I think, of tour in America.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That is wild. So
it's been a long one.
Wow. How many more dates do you have left?
7 more shows. I think 10 more days.
Wow. Where'd you guys start? I'm just curious now.
LA.
Look this up. Okay. You're in. So did you make like a big? I mean, 6 weeks. You must have been a bit circle.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we started in LA and we end up in LA. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So from being in Melbourne, how did you get into music? I'm curious.
Well, I started piano when I was 4. And I kept going until I was about 15 on just piano. I played guitar and bass through primary school and high school. I was in the choir, the Australian Boys Choir, for a while. And then when my voice broke, I kind of left.
Mm-hmm. Well, how old were you when you joined the choir? Was that the first thing you did? Or it was piano?
No, piano. Yeah, piano was the first thing I did, for sure. Piano is probably the longest. That's probably the most of an instrument I know. I don't know it as well anymore, but I utilize it in another band I'm in called Cherry. But no, I started with piano, got into the choir when I was about, I would say like 10 or 11, maybe. Did that for about 5-6 years, hated it.
Did your parents keep you in it? Like, I mean, to be in it for 6 years.
Yeah, okay. My parents, they kept me in all of that sort of stuff. I just wanted to learn drums. That's all I wanted to do. So when I hit high school in year 7, I started drums and played drums in a band in high school, and then played bass in a band in high school, and then guitar in the first iteration of Thornhill in year 11 with Ethan and Ben, our drummer. And then we didn't have a vocalist, and so I was kind of like, I'll try and do it. And now I'm stuck. I'm stuck doing vocals.
So you guys didn't
So,
have a singer, or when the band started, and you just said, I'll just sing, or you didn't have, you had somebody before that didn't work out?
well, the original guitarist for Thornhill, Sam, he used to be the vocalist for like our Battle of the Bands kind of high school band, but we swapped because he wanted to play guitar and we were going to do harder. I think we were just doing stuff that he didn't really want to do, so I had to go at it because I think we were just covering North Lane and Ocean Grove and Architects and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll give it a try. And then we did it and we were like, oh well, whatever, that was fun. And then I kind of just got stuck there with it, I think, because I wasn't like the best guitarist. I didn't really care too much about guitar. And then I think once I actually did the vocal part for a bit, I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. And then we kind of just rolled with it from there.
That's cool. So you guys were covering North Lane songs. Did you like them? Because they're another Melbourne band, right? They're from there.
Yeah,
correct.
I
Were
think
they just
they're
like
from Sydney, but
are they
maybe
from
they are
Sydney?
based in LA. I'm not sure.
But were they just like they are from Sydney, and I think, but I don't know. I'm confused. I confuse myself. I think because their new singers from Melbourne, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, were they like a band that had been established and were doing things, or were they just a big band in Australia that you guys kind of followed?
They were I think they were an up and coming band in Australia when we first saw them, because Ethan and I didn't know much about the genre or like the community, like the scene kind of thing. We didn't know anything about it. We just knew, I think the bands that we really like, I was a Parkway fan. I liked like all that, like, and he, I think, was more like Bless the Fall fan. And so we had very different, because we went to there was this one show that kind of started Thornhill in a way. It was like 170, it's a venue called 170 Russell, billboards, and it used to be all ages. And we were seeing August Burns Red, I think Bless the Fall, North Lane, and Glorified. And I remember we saw North Lane for the first time and we were just like, whoa, because that was the first show we'd ever really been to. And we're like, whoa, these guys are cool. We listened to them and we both kind of were like, oh, what they're doing is cool. And we both kind of at the same time were like, we both think this is cool. And then we kind of, that's what got the ball rolling, I think, a bit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Once the band starts going, like, what was the first kind of like, you guys start writing songs, and are you playing just like local clubs? Like, how does the band really start?
It was wild. We were writing demos on an iPad on GarageBand for maybe a year, all through year 12, during like maths classes and just other classes, because we just weren't interested in high school, really. It just wasn't our thing. We were kind of like, whatever, we know what we want to do. So we were just writing and did some demos and whatnot. And we just came out of year 12 and went straight to the studio, and we met CV, who is in like Belhaven and some other bands. And we recorded our first EP with him, and we met MVD, who was our guitarist and manager. He was starting a management company or thinking about managing a band, and he came to one of our sessions and was like, okay, I'm going to manage you guys. And so we had a manager before we didn't release music, had an EP ready to go. And we
this
played
is before you even played a show, right?
Yeah, before we even played a show. Our first show was like stacked. I think it was Hellions, Void of Vision. I can't remember who else, but it was a really big show for our first show, and it was we got given a very big helping hand straight away. So we never really did the club show. We have played some club shows, but it kind of started off pretty quick and pretty big, which was really cool, because that venue is a sick venue. It's a very, very cool venue.
Wow. And you guys, did you get signed pretty quickly to UNFAD?
Yeah, I think so. We did the EP 13, and then we did 2 singles, and we signed with UNFD on the next EP. So it was like maybe 2 years in, 2.5.
Okay, so it wasn't super quick. But like, so once you put out that, that EP and get a manager, like, you're really kind of getting put on pretty good tours and support slots? Is that like, that's what I'm, okay.
Yeah, we it took a sec for us to tour, I think, like properly. But yeah, we got given a lot of like good shows. We definitely weren't ready for those good shows, which is hard because
Hmm.
we didn't get to do the small show thing and like work our way up. It was kind of like thrown in the deep end, and we weren't good enough for that. So it's been a lot of catch up for us at the start, I think. But it was really cool to learn all those things straight away, though.
Yeah, like what was it like going out and getting your guy like your first show together? Like how many? You're probably playing to a massive room. Was that terrifying?
Yeah, it was fucking terrifying. Absolutely. Oh my god, it's taken a long time for that fear to subside. I'll tell you that much.
Oh,
Um,
is that right?
yeah, it was hard. And I didn't know anything about singing yet. I had to go back to a singing teacher to teach me how to sing because I just had no idea. I just went in being like, oh, I can scream, I can yell really loud, that should be right. And then once we progressed further into the singing world with our sound, I wasn't ready for it at all. So I was like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm going to be touring, how I'm going to be doing this. It's a nightmare.
Wow. Well, what would you say like the next, I mean, before signing to UNFD or UNFD, was that like, did you have a buzz? Like, how did they find you and decide to sign you guys?
I think I guess they were scouting, and they came to a show that we were playing. I think we were on this tour with the Brave. That was our first, like, it was like a weekender. So, because
Hmm.
there's not many places to go in Australia for like big tours unless you're doing regional stuff. So we were just doing Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, but it was our first tour, so it was very exciting. And we played the Melbourne venue, and they came down and checked us out, and we were in talks from that show onwards, I think, for a while, just back and forth, keep us updated with what you're doing, blah blah blah. So that was cool, which was funny. I don't know why they signed us because that show, I was not only horrible, but I stood on the mic lead and dropped the mic, and the mic came out and it's big sound, and it was just so embarrassing. So I don't know what they were thinking because I still do that to this day. I have to get our TM, who is here. Hey, Dusty. He has to tape my microphone every night because I just trip on that shit still all the time.
Well, when you left that show, were you like, oh man, like I blew it? Or
Oh, I
was
didn't
that,
know that they were there.
oh, you didn't know that they were there?
No, I didn't. And then they came back and they were like, "Oh, that was great." And I was like, "No, it wasn't. Don't fucking lie to me right now. Like that was horrible." But here we are, still with
But then
them
they
for
signed
years.
you. That
Oh
must have been
yeah,
was that a big moment?
it was. Yeah, that was a really big deal for us because that was the label that we wanted when we first started when we were kids. We were like, oh, in high school, being like, oh, that'd be so cool if we signed to UNFD. I think we all had UNFD t-shirts. So it was like, it was like full circle kind of moment for us for sure.
That's cool. That's so cool. And they're Australian label as well. So
Well,
I mean,
they're, I think, worldwide now.
but didn't they start off as an Australian label?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but still, like that's so awesome. The label you wanted, and they're the ones that come to the show, and then they're the ones that give you the shot, and then you get signed.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Once you sign with them, what's the like? Does that just elevate you to like the next level as far as like recording goes or show support goes?
It definitely elevated the way we appeared on social media as well, I think, because they know how to market stuff and they know how to make it look kind of good. And it was very helpful having like that support in like, having a good label and like the vinyl side of things and all those sort of things. Because then Butterfly ended up doing pretty well. Like it was a big one for us, and they really were a helping hand in doing all of that and made it look as good as we could do at that time. So it was really cool having that, and they were lovely, and they definitely helped us so much on the album
Hmm.
campaigns and stuff like that. So it's definitely something we couldn't have done without them.
Hmm. Once you have some success from Butterfly EP and then you go into putting out your first like record, like full album, was that something that you were like hesitant about as far as like, is this record going to do well? I mean, we did we did well with the EP on the label. Like, what's going to happen? Like, was that anything that you thought of going into it?
Ethan and I are firm believers in albums. I think like that's our whole thing, is that albums is important, or they should be important.
Mhm.
And so for us, it was never like I'm scared or I need it to be anything. It was more like, okay, cool, we're going to write an album for the first time. Like, this needs to be good. This needs to, like, we have to put everything we can into this album, kind of do as much as we can. And it, it needs to feel good to us. Like, it needs to feel like this made sense, that this is where we were going with it. With every side of every aspect of everything, it was like really important for us to nail this first one. Because we just think if you nail the first one, and you've kind of got a good platform to kind of explore and do what you need to do. And so it was a cool experience, especially because we did it ourselves. Like, we self-produced the whole thing. We did
Oh,
it with our
really?
bassist. Yeah, we did it all. So we were very like particular with it. And yeah, it
That's cool
feels
that
like
the label was supportive
years
of
ago.
that too. I mean, to go into
Yeah.
your first debut record and you guys are like, we're gonna do it ourselves. Like, we don't care about
Mm,
having this whoever producer or this person involved. Like, they just let you go for it.
basically, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's
It
awesome.
was very, very hard when it's self-produced as well. And that, in a point of like, it's really hard to keep plugging away when you've got so much other stuff in your life. Like, because we're still young. I mean, it's getting harder now, even as we get older. But it was hard to be like, oh, your parents want you to go to uni. They want you
Yeah.
to, they want you to do things, and you're like, no, this is the thing. Where you're working at the same time, you're trying to fit in writing days, and it's a nightmare, honestly. But we made it work.
Do you remember the moment when you could go back? Or, like, was it after that record came out and it started doing well that you could go back and tell your parents, like, see, like, I told you we should be doing this. Like, I didn't know, I don't need to go to uni. Like, no big deal.
Yeah, it definitely was. I think it was definitely that album, or it might have even been the EP, because I remember the EP launch, we played this bar called Cherry Bar, and we sold it out pretty quickly. And it was
Mhm.
our first headline show. And they came to that, all our families, and they were like, "Wow, okay, this is a real thing." And then,
That's
they
awesome.
come to tours and stuff, and like, okay, so one day it'll be a job. One day.
And so you go to tour to support this record, and or the Dark Pool, and then that's when COVID hits.
Yeah, we did a headline run, and
Hmm.
then we went to Europe and toured it, and then we came home, got shut down for a year, and then we did a regional run for it across Australia. Somehow didn't get shut down for that, then got shut down when it finished, and then here we are. And this is our
Okay.
first tour back. Yeah, I think it's our first
Wow.
tour back.
So you were able to tour it with, you did that tour then, and you completed the tour with Wage War and Dead.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
we have toured it. We just haven't toured it in America, and probably not as much as we would have across Australia and maybe Europe. So
Sure. But still,
yeah.
I was curious. A buddy of mine, Cody, you probably know him. He's in Wage War. He lives
Oh
like
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
same town as me. He's such a
No
great
sure.
dude. Yeah. So I was just curious. I saw that you guys did that tour with them, and I didn't know if it was something that you were able to finish. It sounds like, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were
Okay.
very lucky.
And you put out what, two other versions of the album? One is an instrumental version, and then one with just the vocals.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone.
What was
Yeah,
the idea behind that?
well, the instrumentals, I think, is a big thing for our genre. I think people really like that. So I think it was always something we are going to do, and do an alternate cover. And then I think it was a joke to do the vocal one, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That sucks. And then they just did it anyway, and now it's up forever.
Okay. So it was just the same record with this. And maybe it made it easier because you guys produced the whole thing. So they just took the stems and put it
Exactly.
out.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. They were like, ha ha ha, let's do it. And then people actually really liked it. And we were like, okay, that's all right.
That's cool. That's
There you
really
go.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
tell me about this new record, because it sounds like are you touring, like kind of supporting the Dark Pool, or no? Or you're just working or supporting this new record that's coming out, what, in less than a month?
Yeah. 50-50, I'd say. Our set
Okay.
is split in half, I'd say, because we've got three singles. Wait, Casanova, Hollywood, and Archangel. We've got
Mhm.
3 of the new record, and I think 3 of the other one because we're only playing 6 songs on this tour. So we're doing half half. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And
Mm.
when did you guys start putting together this new record, and was it also self-produced?
Yeah. Yeah. It was self-produced. Yeah, but we got George Lever, who did Sleep Token and stuff, to mix and master this one though.
Okay. And when did you start
But
writing it? Like, was it during the
straight after
pandemic?
Europe, to be honest. We started after Europe, but then it took us a very long time to finish it just because lockdown just ruined our mental capacity for music, I think. And a lot of people
Hmm.
just, you don't feel like you're ever going to get out of it or get back to it. So it took us a long time to get out of a rut of just like, fuck this, like, why are we even doing this kind of thing? Once we got over that, yeah, it was basically a lockdown record. I mean, we recorded the drums in a garage because we couldn't go to a studio because they weren't open in
Oh,
Australia. Like
wow.
Australia was shut down completely, so we were like, it's a DIY album, but that's the point of the album. It was supposed to be kind of feel like a live album, sort of feel kind of grungy and 90s, and a bit different to like these polished metalcore records now, or what we did for the Dark Pool. So it made sense for what it is, but yeah, it was a long grueling 2 years, I'll tell you that
Hmm.
much.
Was
And it's
it,
finally here.
do you feel like the pandemic had any like like effect as far as on the record? Like, did you have more time to sit on things? Do you feel like, like
Yeah,
in that sense?
yeah, I think vocally it was the break I needed to work on what I wanted to do, because I have my mic right next to my bed, like my
Oh, really?
studio. Yeah,
Okay.
I recorded all the vocals myself in my bedroom. Um, and like whenever I had an idea, I could just go and do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I'm going to the vocal booth. We have a certain amount of time. I have a certain
Hmm.
amount of time in my voice that I can do. Where got kind of doing that thing in front of everyone else. It was more like I get to just do whatever I want with no judgment, other than my parents telling me to shut up if it's too late. Um, so like it was cool in that way to just be able to just you don't feel like you're wasting anyone's time trying weird ideas and doing weird stuff, because you were
Right.
able to just follow it and just you're not waiting on anyone. And Ethan, I think, felt the same, and we had a lot of different processes on writing these songs that were a lot different to the Dark Pool. Like we would write to imagery and film and things like this to really try and pinpoint moments of emotion, rather than being like, oh, this song is sad, because I don't really
Mm.
vibe that anymore. Like I'm a bit older now. I don't think I want more from music than that. And I think we both wanted to pinpoint different feelings that you're not used to from us. And that was kind of the point of the record. So we'll see if we nailed that or not.
Amazing, amazing. So, like in the past, was it you guys wrote together in a room, or would you have an idea, or Ethan would have an idea, and then you would work on it together? And was this done more as here's some music, see what you can come up with, or you have the melody or whatever, and you send it over to him? Like, how did that work?
It was a lot different because we would go to Cage's house, which is our bassist who produced, like mixed and
Oh,
mastered the Dark Pool.
mm-hmm.
We would go to his house and pre-pro there a lot of the time. So it was more like if I had an idea or we needed to do vocals, they would have to sit there and watch me do it. And
Mm.
same for Ethan, and we just sit there and try and write. So it was a cool process, but it wasn't the process of this record. And I think we learned a lot about writing on this one, especially now. I had to buy like a really good mic for this, and I had to learn how to like record properly and like do proper things, because all those takes on the record are from my house. Like I had to learn how to make it sound decent at least. So it was easy for him, as in Ethan, to send me demos from his room, and I would download them into my Logic session and track over them and send them back. And we had folders of stuff. So it was more of a collaboration this time. Like we worked together a lot more than just patchworks of
Mm-hmm.
recording and stuff. So there's a lot more streamline, I think, which we're going to take onto the future, I think.
That's rad. That's so cool that the whole record was essentially sung in your bedroom. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably like, it's cool to hear those stories. And like, you think about it, like 5 years ago, that was not even like a thought in anybody's mind. Like you had to go into the studio and pay a boatload of money. And now you could essentially do, a perfect record from your own bedroom.
Well, I wouldn't say a perfect record. It's definitely the faults of it are purposeful now. Like, I don't think if we were going for what we were going for on the Dark Pool, it wouldn't have sounded good, I don't think. And
Really?
yeah, I don't think so. But it's not what we were after anymore. So we got lucky. I think everything kind of aligned for this record. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, real quick, why do you say that? Were you like, what was different when it came to the Dark Pool versus that? Like, why would it not have worked that way?
Just proper studio time, like drum studios and
Okay.
vocal booths, and like more time in the mixing process, like just more things that you were more hands on and had more control over, I think. And
Mhm.
it was more of like, this is recording, this is done. For us, it was like, this can be recorded, we're doing this on the side, we're doing this. It was kind of like all over the shop a bit, just because of the pandemic and what we could do and what we couldn't do legally and things like that. It was a shit show.
Yeah.
But it all came together in the end, thank God.
Yeah. The songs I've heard off the record so far are awesome, man. I think you guys
Thank
nailed
you.
it. So, and then to be gone for, you said 6 weeks and you still have another 10 days, like, ah, I bet you guys are itching to get home at some point.
I'm tired.
Not that you're not going
I'm
to
on
kill
my
it for
bed.
7 more days, but yeah.
Oh God, I'm getting to the end of my thread. Not gonna lie, haven't sang this much in my life, but it's been cool to see like our stamina. I think, especially coming out of, because what we were worried about is we just did Europe and we were in a groove and we're like, sweet, like we can do this now. But then you got locked down for 2 years, and now we're about to, we just went on the biggest tour of our career, and we were all like, we can we do this? We prepared. We have absolutely no like foundation here, of stamina and being, because it's when you tour, it's not just about playing live, it's about your friendships, it's about your living situation. You're tired all the time, you get sick, you get this, you get that, everyone's broke, so there's like so many other layers to touring that you don't really think about, or you don't live until you're living it.
Mhm.
So that was a big one for us too, to be like, are we going to tear each other's heads off, or are we going to blow out first show? And like, what's going to happen? But it's been really good. I can't believe it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, just being in a van and like you said, and just not only do you have to perform every night or every other night or whatever it is and bring that energy, but it's like there's never like a rest, like a fully, you're not going to go home and sleep in your bed and get like a great sleep day and then come out and, it's just like you kind of have to just keep going and going and
oh
going.
yeah, oh, it's insane. Apparently, we have 6 weeks at home after this tour, and that's the longest we're going to be home until December.
Oh man. So you guys are
So
going right
yeah,
back on the road.
yeah. It's big heroin plug year. It's going to be the biggest test of our lives. We'll see how we go.
Yeah, see how it all pans out, but I'm sure it'll be great. And the record's rad, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. I know you guys are busy.
No, it's fine. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do have one more question for you before I let you go, Jacob. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Aspiring artists. I would say, there's a lot of things. I would say be open to, oh man, this is a good question. I haven't actually thought about this. Have a good foundation of a workplace that has a good relationship with you, because you're going to be touring a lot and trying to get work when you come back. And that's super difficult. And it's something that we've struggled a lot with, trying to keep jobs while we tour. I would say also really be patient, especially with your band. I think you guys got to be best friends. I think at the same time, you're always on tour, you're always in each other's space. You gotta be careful with each other and make sure you're all doing well, especially when you're away a long time. And in terms of music, as a vocalist, warm up, warm down. I don't want to hear no shit. Don't drink. don't smoke and all that stuff. Like, treat your voice like a muscle, because it is, and you're gonna have to treat yourself well. And as a musician, you know, just do whatever you want to do. Don't let anyone tell you anything different.